top. That is going to be first blood picked up for Tussle.
And we actually see Gary in the mid lane go down. Actually, Tussle just once again picks off Exocen.
Fine is going to land, and that is going to be immediately Exocen going into the middle of everyone. That will be the Zhonya's pop. That's a three-man stun. Over the wall goes Apperman, and he's already exhausted and has been shut down. Gary is going nuts on the backline. Double kill already. Make that a triple. Give him the quadra. This is a funnel comp, and they will be able to pick it up, and that will be Baron. And actually they go in. That's going to be Gary on the backline. Get all of the support abilities. In goes Apperman, however, exhausted one more time. And this Super Kaiser is just tearing them apart. Will once again win the team fight for their team, and Mineski will take game number 2. But the Nexus turrets will now fall down. Mineski, once again with this funnel comp, they kind of lull USG into the false sense of security and then just steal it all at once. They will take it.
Hello and welcome back to Rift Rivals, Day 1, Game 3 of the day. I am Jake Kipray Matthews, and joining me once again back on the caster's desk is Bryce E, Jim, Paul, and Rusty Pie. I'm not even going to do your first name. I quite like Rusty Pie.
That's cool. That's cool. I respect it.
Normally the last name's the hard one, you know, but he's
it's just an easy last name.
Rusty.
Because I said Rusty Pie before the broadcast, that was in my head.
That's cool, man.
You know, a lot of people go Kiwi, sorry, not Kiwi, Cowboy. When they say my name, Zach Rusty Pie, they can't help it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we've got an interview with Gary from Mineski, the winner of the last game, so we're going to pass it over to you.
I'm here with Gary from Mineski. What was the thinking with the funnel strat of putting the funnel on the ADC as opposed to the mid lane?
우리 어떻게 생각하면 카이사 및 어떻게 이 스트래티지 만들려?
지금 메타가 보스를 아무거나 가도 되니까 이제 보시 원딜이 가는 게 더 안 좋으니까 그냥 차라리 미드를 가서 원딜 더 쉽게 크고 이제 캐리 치는 메타로 그냥 해서 연습도 많이 하고 그게 더 좋은 것 같아서 카이사 룰로 많이 생각.
Because of the meta right now, putting AD standard lane in bot lane is not that good. But if you put it in mid lane, it can get farm better and can carry the game more. So we practiced this Lulu Kaisa comp a lot in scrims, and yeah, it eventually worked.
It absolutely worked. At what point in the game did you feel confident that the funnel strat had paid off?
게임에서 언제 생각해요? 우리 이김.
터닝 포인트.
네, 터닝 포인트.
바론에서 이제 팀파이 싸움한 거에서 그냥 아예 완전히 게임 끝났어.
He knew the game was over once they got the Baron and got the ace. Even whatever more happened, we would have won the game anyway.
I think everyone knew that the game was over when the Baron was taken. And finally, how has Southeast Asia adjusted, given that Vietnam is not part of the comp anymore, given how influential they were last Rift?
지금 Vietnam, Southeast Asia 나간다. Southeast Asia level 어떤 생각해요?
베트남?
베트남 나가면
조금 힘들 것 같죠. 베트남 쪽이 잘해가지고 좀 힘들 것 같은 느낌이 드는.
He thinks that Southeast Asia will still have a hard time because Vietnam is a very strong region, but there's still ways to improve and follow their footsteps.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the win and good luck for the rest of the tournament. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick. And I mean, very humble actually from the Southeast Asian teams to kind of recognize, you know, Vietnam worth a strong seat for us. So it's an uphill battle, but we've got a lot to learn.
And I feel like recognize it is very important coming in. They've had a decent performance already, and yeah, super humble.
Yeah, surprising so far in a very good way for them, and I like that humility, and I hope that that continues through because it shows that they are willing to grow from it.
I mean, we've had a lot of surprises here so far. Detonation did get defeated by the Chiefs, and Detonation, you know, thought looking pretty strong, but the Chiefs will be taking on Pentagram, the first seed from Japan now. How are we feeling about this? You think Chiefs got a good old bolster going into this game?
I mean, they warmed up now at the very least, but it was a scrappy battle against the second seed of the LJL. So now they get to go up against the first seed shortly afterwards. And that's the exciting thing for me. Can they continue the same style or actually have momentum against the better version?
And that's the thing, like we talked about the Chiefs, it was super back and forward. LJL lost game number 1, so they're still searching for their first victory of the day despite winning last Rift Rivals.
I mean, when I went downstairs after the game, Destiny came up to me and he said, "Did you like the Clown Fiesta?" And I did.
Roma said in the
I
interview,
did enjoy
you know?
the Clown Fiesta.
He was talking about the 50-50s, and that's what it was.
There was a lot of chances for those 50-50 like kind of smite steals as well to come down, but they just played that really, really well. So we have to see whether or not that's actually going to be coming through for them. But coming up now is obviously going to be Pentagram. So let's have a look at their team lineup. Paz in the top lane. Once is their jungler. Ramune is their mid laner. Yatori Mayashi is their ADC. And Gang is their support.
And the player that you need to look at when you watch Pentagram, it's your first time seeing them in this tournament, is Yutori Moyashi. He is a fantastic AD carry player that was known for his aggression in lane. Most of the team's pretty reserved and passive by style, but he was always the flare that started to level them back up.
And they've paired him with Gang, a new Korean substitute. This is a lineup as Rampage lost Tussle to USG and Dara to retirement, and now 2 other Korean imports, and their bottom lane is so aggressive. They love the Lucian. They love to pair it with things like the Rakan, like the Thresh.
So no funnel comps.
I mean, it's possible, but he'd be playing in an off role, and I think
Yeah.
that you mentioned the Lucian. Ejim, I have a feeling that that's what he will hardcore go towards unless they ban it away from him.
Yeah.
He was playing it at MSI.
And that's the thing. It will be the Chiefs on the red side of the map, opposing Rampage. Oh, sorry, Pentagram here. Swiper, Big Swift in the top lane. Babip is their jungler. Ryoma playing Swain. The first game of the day, and Raze and Destiny calling themselves the most aggressive bottom lane in the OPL, Coach Daruk.
And of course, Swiper actually surprised a lot in this first game. He's a player with a lot of potential, known as Big Swips. He's the Titan. He's got a lot of tanks up there, but he was able to play that Bruiser very well.
And that's not what we expected at all. Coming off a very rough loss last week in the OPL, he got absolutely bullied to then go into Evie of Dead FM and pick Clayton to the Mundo matchup, and I feel like probably didn't get enough recognition on the cast of like how well he did. There was a lot of talk about Raze. Of course, he was dishing out so much damage, but it was everyone else on the composition as well setting that up.
I think you're right. I felt like 30 minutes of the game went by before we really started to feel the presence of the Varus in the same way that we saw Ryoma and Swiper individually stepping up to the plate very well. The team play from the Chiefs was what I noticed that was impressive against their opponents. When they were in skirmishes, they tended to lose a little bit more. But the second there was 4 people, the second Destiny was free from lane, and then everyone comes bottom, the Chiefs started to roll.
And I mean, what I did notice from that was the early game from Chiefs. It wasn't quite there. They did fall to a lot of kind of mistakes, and Detonation punished them for that. I have to see whether or not Detonation can actually do that versus Chiefs, or if Chiefs realize what went wrong in that first game and go, okay, cool, we did very well from 20 minutes onwards, but we need to look at our early.
Because you can look at, like, Pentagram obviously watched that game backstage, right? And they see what Dead FM, not to mention they could just talk to Dead FM. This is a region versus region tournament, not team versus team. And Chiefs, their level 1 was weak. They got punished. Babip on the Sejuani got set so far behind. And uncharacteristically, they also went for a super negative lane in the Tahm Kench and the Varus. They like to play through their bottom lane. They like to play through their mid lane. And they just flipped the map. And you talked about the strength of Yutori Mayashi. Like, that's a very aggressive bottom lane to go against. If you're just seeding lane pressure based on comp, that can be pretty rough.
I agree. Bottom lane, I liked the idea of the Varus. And again, they were against the Vladimir that went for the coin first. So they kind of won themselves lane priority from what their opponents did, not necessarily from what they did. I would like to see perhaps that Tahm Kench change into something just a bit more aggressive, give them more control in the 2v2 if that's what they choose to go towards. However, if I was the Chiefs, I'd actually like to see something different from Babip. I would like to consider even something along the lines of the Nidalee, maybe not the Sejuani, to go against Once, who we saw at MSI was exploited.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen him be a very aggressive early ganker in the LGL. They've only played 2 weeks so far and are currently sitting second, unfortunately. But his early games, like, he's very happy to just gank a lane, sack himself, play for the lanes. And if that sets you behind, if Babip isn't on a Sejuani, if he's on a Nidalee, if he's on a Graves, things like that can bully out the jungle matchup, then that can be a huge detriment.
I mean, for Pentagram, what it really is about them here is that regional pride. You know, you don't want to give 2 games over to OPL in the first day. You want to kind of get revenge for your fallen brothers on Detonation. And also, they are the first seed from Japan. I mean, they have a lot to prove here. You know, they need to get this win and go even with OPL here at the start of the day.
And that's why it's super surprising that they haven't even won a game, right? Like, how they come in as the champions. First day, like, you don't want to be going into second day because, of course, it's a multi-day group stage. like thinking, oh, I have to win every game. Like as you approach the dirty end of the tournament, the tough end, you want to start on a strong foot, and obviously Japan just haven't.
And the format has changed this year from Rift Rivals of last, so getting third gives you nothing. You're just eliminated from the tournament. It's not the same as it was before, where the GPL side could come through and one team can just ruin all
King of the Hill.
Yeah, there is no King of the Hill this time. So
I mean, the King of the Hill is gone anyway. They're off in LCK, aren't they?
Vietnam? King of the Hill?
Yeah,
oh.
no,
Oh,
sorry.
you mean the King of Vietnam?
Vietnam is the King of the Hill for Southeast Asia, but actually they're out in Korea
Turkey.
now.
They're with Turkey, I believe. It's a
yes.
region versus region, just the two-region battle.
Well, I know what I'm talking about, so I'll let you guys carry on. We do have to keep in mind, though, Pentagram, even though they are first seed from Japan, currently they're fourth. We've only had 2 weeks of games, so there's not a lot really to kind of pull from that. Maybe they just had a rough start. I mean, Chiefs literally a couple of days before coming here lost to the bottom seed from OPL. So, you know, you can't always take too much in for that, but you know, they are still currently fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. I said second, they are fourth. They're a super versatile team, I feel like, as well in the mid lane. Ramune, he's like kind of known as the Vel'Koz guy. I feel like a lot of Japanese mid laners are. They love the Vel'Koz over there, but they have like very, very wide champion pools. And when you're going up against a lineup like the Chiefs, I feel like in the OPL specifically, things are very static. Chiefs are the team that experiment more often than not. They've played double funnel. They've played Ornn in the bottom lane. Going up against the OPL as a whole, like Japan just seems so much more versatile.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Chiefs were actually the first ones to bring out that different style of strategy as well, like you mentioned with the Ornn in the bottom lane. Not afraid to experiment, not afraid to try things. And the one place of Pentagram that I would be looking at is saying, perhaps it's, and it's not that it's not versatile, it's that they have a very specific tendency they want to play towards, is the bottom lane. So that's why I'm very curious to see how they continue forwards here and play out, and is funnel a possibility for them, like you mentioned before.
I hope not.
Because their their respective opponents in their region in Det FM absolutely have a lot of cheesy opportunities there. Their mid laner is a Heimerdinger main, so he's kind of in his own meta now.
You're not a fan of the funnel?
I just find it very uninteractive. Like,
I mean, that's the point.
I know,
That's how we saw 20 minutes, you know, just farm some camps, farm a mid lane.
It's literally
you know,
like, if you don't deal with it or like snowball before the funnel becomes alive, you kind of just lose. I'm not a massive fan of it personally.
Yeah, it's super polarizing, right? Like pro players, fans,
of course.
casters, everybody involved in League of Legends is just like, like I either love funnel because it's like a new type of game, it's completely different to standard League of Legends, or you hate it.
Well, I like the fact we can get bruisers in the bot lane, and I like the kind of change up around that. But the funnel is the only thing from this kind of crazy meta we're currently in that I'm not a massive fan of. And maybe that's just because I'm from EU and I've had to watch G2 do it for so long.
It is literally the most non-interactive change in all of it. You like the bruises, that is like the most interactive change.
I'm just a play-by-play. That's all it is. I just want fights.
Do you like lane swaps? Did you like the lane swap meta?
I hated the lane swap meta. I hated the lane swap meta.
I'm noticing a trend here.
Yeah, I like brawly metas with like fast and punchy games.
It's a classic play-by-play, like battle good, macro bad.
You can tell what rank I play in. Anyway, so let's have a little look at, we have got a quick pause, so we'll have a little talk about the game a little bit further. I know, Bryce, you're really, really a kind of OPL extraordinaire.
Connoisseur? Okay.
Connoisseur.
Yeah,
I was trying to find a word for that.
I was wondering what you were going to say at the end of that sentence. Okay.
Fanboy, expert, you know, you take your pick there.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about Chiefs versus Pentagram. You know, we've hit on it a little bit, but you said to me today when we got started that top was really their kind of weak suit, but that last game, Swiper was, he went off, man. He looked real good.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're going to get into Champs Select, like he had a very good performance on an unexpected pick, and it was not just the fact that he played well, it was the style that Chiefs went for, knowing he can play well. Like the bounce back ability, for lack of a better word, from a veteran like Swiper can't be understated, especially going into multiple games on a single day.
That is a great word, but Swiper on international events, mate, it's coming. Big Titan's coming.
Well, we're seeing the Yasuo get banned away by Pentagram to start this out. See what Chiefs are going to be looking to ban away.
15 seconds to decide. Lucian, of course, we already touched on the Japanese AD carries. Yutori Miyashi was penchant to pick that one up. So nice respect ban there. I'm interested to see if Chiefs go for a same strategy we saw game one. Do they flip it to what we, as OPL fans, stylistically see them play normally, or whether they go back to like something different?
Well, we'll have to see. It's been very slow with these picks and bans. Every team thinking it out nice and strong. There's going to be that Rakan. I remember everyone talking to me about Destiny on Rakan.
Yeah, this is actually 2 target bans right off the bat here. I know that the Yasuo may not seem like one all the time, but Roma is an absolute monster on it. So going into the third ban, remember that Pentagram are first pick, and there's still a lot of priority champions that haven't been banned away, as it's all target bans.
We've seen a lot of Nocturne bans, not a lot of Talia priority, if at all. I think maybe it's been banned. Certainly hasn't been picked, but
it's been banned, I think, once or twice.
Yeah. Super different, of course. We're on patch 8.13, switching it up. The
no Aurelion Soul as well.
No Aurelion Soul, but we do have new Aatrox.
We do.
And talk about polarizing things. New Aatrox, you know, I mean, there's a very highly ranked Korean player on the solo account. It's like, please don't rework Aatrox, something like that. And well, unlucky they take a long time. It's been in the works for a while.
And this is actually the first professional tournament where the new Aatrox is enabled. So if he gets picked today, we'll be the first people to cast the new Aatrox, and you'll be the first people watching at home to see the new Aatrox in a professional game.
That upsets me a little bit because the Chinese server's behind in a couple of weeks. The only thing I've seen of Aatrox is the champion spotlight. I can't actually test it or play it.
It's a very split kind of opinion on the Aatrox. Some people love it, some people really don't like it.
I have not met a single person that loves it.
Spawn, I think, was the only one.
Yeah, Spawn. When I say some people, I mean Spawn loves it.
He has some controversial, at best, sometimes garbage opinions, and that might just be one of them.
Right, let's have a little look back on this game. Talia being hovered here for Pentagram. That could easily be jungle, and I say could be, that will be jungle if they lock that in.
Yeah, most likely. There's been a few regions and a few players, mainly like Talia mains back in the day, that want to play it in the mid lane. But of course, just too strong in the jungle. It's a super interesting champion because she's very broken in the sense that she has good wave clear. Sorry, she has good jungle clear. Yeah. She has super high mobility, utility damage, things like that. But if she ever falls behind, and we've seen it happen time and time again, she can become incredibly useless.
Yeah, a big part of the risk by first picking it is that your opponents, now I don't think it'll happen with the Chiefs, can go something aggressive like a Xin Zhao and try and take you on, right? But it is still going to go back to Old Faithful here for Babip in the Sejuani instead.
Yeah, we're seeing almost a repeat of the Game 1 composition. Of course, Swain still can be flexed. Raze is one of the AD carries in the OPL that is the most versatile. He's probably the best off-roll AD carry the region has, so Swain definitely an option down in the bottom side, despite Ryoma playing it in game number 1.
Well, what a Pentagram going to be looking to put lock in it is going to be that Morgana. Big favorite out in Japan at the moment currently.
And it's not even just Japan. We saw Mineski take it last game. Of course, there was a funnel composition, but OPL teams, Oceanic teams, like, don't really favor this pick at all. There's a lot more engage heavy, like more Alistar, more Shen, more Rakan, things like that. You see the Rakan banned this game, and it's interesting to see the stylistic differences and preferences of champions between the two regions.
Yeah, perhaps denying the likes of a Pyke we may or may not see from Destiny, of course, moving forwards with that Morgana just secured regardless.
Unfortunately, I mean, the Pyke early game last game still got the gank anyway. Morgana wasn't denying anything.
I'd love me some Fiddles here, though. Maybe not as a third pick, but something to consider for the composition of the Chiefs. Not too bad in a Morgana. You can flash and instantly use crowd control.
Morgana Spell Shield is so hard to use against instant CC. If you're a Sejuani against Morgana, which Babip is this game, unlucky for him, by the way.
Here comes the aeroplane.
Yeah, it's like, it's so slow just flying, and like you can choose whether you cast it on yourself, on your AD carry, whoever the CC is flying at, but instant CC, like the Fiddlestick Spear, can be super potent.
Well, Varus is going to get banned away by Pentagram. Sorry, by Chiefs.
And they're going back to the Tahm Kench. We saw them play that game number 1. Destiny on your screen now, most likely to pick that one up, but this might just once again be a top side of the map play for Chiefs.
But they banned the Varus at the same time. So they picked the Tahm Kench, they banned the Varus. That to me, and again, this is coming from the LPL, they're picking Ashe. That's the only thing that I would have left to say in the playbook. Tahm Kench always is coupled with Ashe in our region.
That's a bold call, straight off the bat. There's, of course, not many AD carry bans, just the Varus, just the Lucian. There's a lot of options still open, but
and Raze has got a million off-roll possibilities for himself,
I mean, Swain, still an option down there, but Ashe definitely a possibility.
What about Karthus? Because can you have Defile on when Tahm Kench eats you?
I actually don't know.
No, because Tahm Kench, as a Tahm Kench player, you cannot eat people who are channeling abilities. So you can't literally troll your teammates when they're recalling. And oh, you mean Defile, not the ulti. I'm thinking of ulti. Like, no, that sounds busted. But
yeah,
I'm
you just
not
keep
sure.
belly the whole time.
I'm not sure. That'd be super weird.
Because you get the movement speed buff as well, so you can just run around in the middle of the fight.
Karthus has 3 lives. I'm telling you, it's the future. Take notes, everyone.
Well, ban phase 2 is going to be the Varus, Mundo, Darius, and Kled banned away, and Chiefs looking to pick up an AD carry. Or, I mean, I don't even know what the hell they are going to be picking up. They're going to pick up the Kennen.
Yeah, and Swiper has actually been a Kennen player. Given the meta, he's been one of the Oceanic top laners that is willing to pick it up. So, obviously, with the Kled ban, they saw game number 1. Did Pentagram, they banned a Darius. They banning away the top lane bullies from the Chiefs, but I mean, with only 2 bans in the second phase, Kennon's still up and available.
See what Pentagram are going to be in their compound. They need an AD carry. They need a front line, really. They have no actual front line for the moment. Going to lock in that Vladimir. We did see a lot of work get put out by the Vladimir in game 1. Unfortunately, Chiefs undid it, though, after 20 minutes.
And that Vladimir being locked in should put it towards the bottom lane as well. So we'll have to see what top laner they consider here, Pentagram, against what you would presume to be their Cannon. Now, you can pick something that's tanky to survive, or you could do something crazy.
Are we going to see it?
Oh, we're going to see
5 seconds.
it.
GP.
Oh, don't toy with me.
That's a GP. Oh.
He's distracted us for a second.
He has.
I got very, very excited for that. Also had a little, like, my heart kind of skipped a beat because I was like, I didn't learn his names. Like, any of his ability names.
It's funny how you got excited and me and Rusty are like, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Please, just don't do
Again,
it.
we're going back to the difference between color and play-by-play there.
But Pentagram finishing their composition, as you talked about frontline, they have literally no tank. They have Morgana, presumably support, Vlad AD carry, or marksman at best, like bottom lane.
That's
Zoe.
a Kennen ADC.
They flexed it to the AD carry.
Okay.
Something we did
Bit of the old Reckless, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even
did get
Uzi's got a
buffs.
game on it. So Cannon's not too bad of an AD carry. You know what you're going to be against in regards to matchups once you saw the Vladimir secured as well. So you can pick yourself a bully AD against someone that needs time to ramp up and scale.
I believe AD Kennen actually got buffed last patch. Was it 8.12 where they patched his AD scaling? I'm fairly certain last patch they buffed his AD scaling. So actually it's going to be a little bit like better than he was prior to this.
I mean, we have seen him internationally in the OPL, like Raze hasn't played it, but other teams have. The one thing I am looking at these two compositions, though, Pentagram, if Paz falls behind, I feel like they're going to struggle immensely against this composition of Chief. He's the only AD threat into a full tank Ornn, full tank Sejuani, Tahm Kench full tank as well as Swain. He's pretty tanky.
Yeah. I was going to say.
This GP is he's gonna have to do a lot, otherwise this could fall apart very quickly.
Definitely night and day when these compositions go back to back against each other. One's got poke, fairly non-committal with their crowd control and heavy amounts of magic damage. The opposing side, the Chiefs, has just got to engage everywhere. They've got tanks front to back style of composition where they're just outputting damage on mass.
And that is classic Chiefs fashion. Swiper going back to the Ornn. Ryoma all of a sudden coming into this tournament, not much of a Swain player, but now picked it 2 games in a row on the first day. And Destiny, we saw game number 1, Chiefs were able to kind of match some of the macro plays, make some nice pickoffs with that Devour, with the Abyssal Voyage of the Tahm Kench, and just looking to replicate.
I mean, after 20 minutes, Chiefs just showed up and they said, look, we can team fight. We're very good at this. And again, they're picking themselves a heavy team fight, heavy engaged comp. This is playing perfectly into what we saw from game 1 Chiefs.
And they did it as a composition that didn't scale that crazy. It wasn't get late game, we auto win. They were against a Vladimir, against an Aurelia that had the potential to beat them in those fights. They were just playing individually quite well in the fight to secure those victories when it became super scrappy.
Well, we're going to have to see how this goes out for both of the teams as they take to the Summoner's Rift. LJL looking to get some revenge from game 1 of the day.
And already,
just looking to carry on snowballing, really.
We have a few differences from what we've seen already today. Vladimir in the bottom lane, instead of going Predator Ignite, actually gone for the TP and the Electrocute. So wants the flank potential, wants the extra damage, just instead of the utility. We see on Destiny's side of the coin, he's actually gone for the Spellbook, and that did get buffed on 8.13. Every time you change a summoner, you do get 20 seconds instead of 15 seconds off. So starting from 6 minutes, here's the option to go for the cleanse, which is what you see Spellbook on supports for. It's like, look, they have a Morgana, they have Zoe Bubble. If anything like that hits, suddenly Talia's flicking you, a barrel is landing from GP, and you just need that cleanse.
Yeah, and of course, even in the worst case scenarios of extended lanes, switch to the teleport perhaps and use that one as well. So I think that's great. I actually love Unsealed Spellbook, and I know it's underappreciated currently in its current state and did deserve a couple of touches here and there maybe to improve it, but super powerful in the right hands.
Got tapped in the right direction
as well. Coming through from Pentagram.
Also Chiefs, matched in, actually no, that's a Dematerializer.
Don't worry, mate.
That's double Dematerializer.
With 4 stopwatches.
Yeah.
It's like being back at the beginning of the year.
Well, the meta is coming back to stopwatches here and there everywhere at the moment. A lot more dive threat and prevention of dives, more importantly, especially with these funnel comps coming around.
And we do have to touch on something in the top matchup we're looking at right now. GP, of course, got a nice little Q, proc the bone plating, but on this patch, Ornn lost range in terms of how wide his W is and how long it goes. Actually,
flashes forward. That's going to be the seismic shove, and Raze falls down to first blood.
He flashed in a straight line.
Yeah.
He flashed the binding and still got hit.
You hate to see it. It was a flash from the Morgana very aggressively as well. I think the reaction flash was pick a direction, hope to dodge, but that was worst case scenario as Summoners went down, as well as dying, and free entry to the other side of the map.
Well, we are going to see Babip try to go into the other side. Going to get himself the Scuttle Crab, so he's going to answer buff for buff, but still that's a great burst of momentum for once. Got himself that first blood on the Talia.
But we do have the lessened death timers before level 8 on this patch. So Ray's back super quick, has the TP.
Yes, he was.
But didn't
wants to go
even
mid.
need to use it.
Not going to be able to get too
Nice
much
comp.
damage down.
Just hits him in the face with a few rocks. And I was talking about before, Ornn is one of the best tanks at dealing with something like a GP, but because of the nerfs here, on the top side of the map, in terms of Sejuani Ornn, not the straight-up best 2v2, things like that, and Paz feels safe enough to go for the Klepto, hasn't gone for the Grasp, doesn't feel that threat from the lane.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned before that he's going to be most of the physical damage, so I can understand him trying to go for the Klepto, just getting extra gold and funneling into himself as an individual, but he does suffer in this lane, and more often than not, when you watch Gangplanks in a competitive game, you find that they start to come online and really deal damage by the time they've like lost an inhib. The enemy team has a Baron or something like, 30 minutes is what you're looking at. But the game cascades so quickly with Barons around 20.
Typically you see Gangplanks pick up the Steric second and go more for the tank plank. We don't see the crit plank quite so much, and if he does want to go into that, he has to get a crit item first, because Infinity Edge doesn't give you any extra crit.
As actually, hold that thought. One's looking for
he's
another
asleep.
pick-me, that's a bubble.
He's been put to sleep, Seismic Shove is going to land, and the threaded volley is coming through. Ryomi able to get himself a kill. Meanwhile, a gank is happening. Great blood pool out of Yatori Mirai. Supposed to walk out.
And they do. That's two very early ganks from once. On this Talia, we talked about if it falls behind, can become incredibly useless, but this is taking it to the Chiefs early. Two successful ganks. And two of their lanes already set behind.
Yeah, these skill shots are landing everywhere for the side of Pentagram. They are pumping the Chiefs in this early game. Talia doing a lot of work, ganking in two different places, but at the same time, set up by the Zoe bubble, set up by the Morgana binding. So the lanes are setting up the job. The Talia just hits home incredibly hard.
And that's what you expect, right? The GP has literally no gank assist. Like, you don't want to be going up to the Ornn on the top side of the map. Sejuani can counter gank you so easily. Finding does land.
That went
through
they were
minions.
toying with that.
Does he get more? No, nice little trade back. But ultimately, Devour, every 20-ish seconds, Destiny will make a binding that lands, rendered completely useless, but that cooldown being down means that Raze has to respect the Vladimir so much more.
Does have to keep that in mind, and you did see them maybe thinking about going in. Destiny's able to gob him up and make sure he will be a-okay, but you got to be so careful in this Chiefs bot lane now.
Yeah, and note that the Morgana's not even using the pull to push the lane. It's just to harass and to the side of lanes behind range minions when possible. To try and keep it where it is, enable the jungler to perhaps come down, or just bindings to hit, or the Vladimir to get damaged, because the wave will be stuck in that frozen position. There's nothing the Chiefs can do.
Yep, this time they do have a ward, so they see the Talia and rightfully back away. Binding actually lands onto Destiny this time.
Well, they want to go for the 2v2. Pool's going to come out. Destiny's just going to take a little bit of poke, and they don't actually know once it's still here. That's a lot of burst though onto Gang. He's going to be able to walk out.
If Destiny's Ignite was available, there was potential for a kill there. Had the flash up, but unfortunately they used it earlier in the 2v2.
I think
And
they
again,
knew that once was there, so it would have been a 2-for-1 trade, so they just decided that was not worth it.
Once was just camping himself on that ward. You notice that Babib during all that time was just hard farming. So the Chiefs very confident and comfortable in the fact that they weren't going to die there. They're able to just hang out and let their Sejuani try and get ahead.
But Flick somehow lands, even though once didn't even believe it. Walked away, didn't even try and follow up any damage there, but Pentagram find themselves 1,000 gold lead very early in the game, and very good start for the Japanese lineup.
Mid's got himself a kill onto once as well in the jungle. Paz just going even for the moment in lane. He's about to catch a big wave as well. And this is quite good for the Gangplank. He just wants to get this Triforce under his belt, so he's quite happy not getting ganks. He's just quite happy farming away and just being quiet.
Because the trajectory of this early game is just leave the Gangplank on an island. He'll be fine up against the Ornn. We already talked about the safety he feels going for the Klepto. Because the ganks have been successful bot and mid for Pentagram, that means Chiefs all of a sudden have to kind of play towards those lanes to dissuade any further snowball, things like that. So they can't try and bully the Gangplank, which we talked about being such an important point for Pentagram.
Yeah, the onus does shift towards the bottom side of the map. Swiper with teleport, he can't really afford to use that to go back to lane. He needs to go bottom. He needs to contribute with the ultimate up and available. And I think what he's waiting for, that big go moment, will be the Sejuani and the cannon hitting level 6. Then you've got the ultimates there. Regardless of items, that's enough crowd control and base damage to secure a kill onto at least one person.
Swiper this time is on a more engaged tank. It looks like they're going in.
Ignite.
Instantly gobbled up by Destiny to make sure he's okay, but that will force him back now. No jungle intervention to come through, but Paz actually is on the receiving end of a Sejuani gank. Call of the Forge God's going to come down, and Paz now getting knocked up and locked down. Forces to flash up, but he's going to get pinned down. That will be one answered back by Chiefs.
Just very nice setup. The Ornn goes so early. Sejuani doesn't even have to use the Q to close the gap because there's so much CC coming from that Ornn. So very easy pickup. Oranges does absolutely nothing to keep him alive. And not to mention, he loses the flash as well.
Yeah, very nice stuff from the Chiefs. Going towards that top side, finding an opportunity to get in there before the level 6 points. So now the trade potentially available on the bottom side.
Looks like wants an answer here. He's going to miss that seismic shove. Gang is forced to tank out that turret. He's losing a lot of health as Destiny throws down the grey health. He's ignited, he's cleansing, and now Raze is chasing him down. He's looking for the kill. The slicing maelstrom knocks him out. Raze can't quite get him for the moment as he flashes over the wall. He's going in afterwards, and Raze able to pick himself up a kill. Destiny can just gobble him up. A great finding though, followed up by the Hemo Plague. It's a 1-for-1 in the bot lane.
And that was almost so incredibly nice from the Chiefs bottom lane. The outplay on a 2 versus 4 dive. Destiny using the cleanse to live for so long, and Raze just trades the kill.
If they were able to live through that, that would have been the perfect outcome in such a disadvantageous position. Destiny dodges a lot of skill shots at the start of this. By going forwards, you'll see the cleanse come out from him here after dodging again another spell. Has enough health to survive, and Raze finds a chance.
And it is a very difficult dive, right? Their CC is all skill shots. You mentioned has the cleanse, and not to mention just dodges all of them as Raze just gets a nice outplay over the wall, but
he could have ran actually here. That wasn't necessary.
Can we just honor Destiny though?
Yeah, that's
like he died for his AD carry, man. Raze could have walked out. We know that, but you know what? As you two are both support players, you know what ADCs are like.
I mean, if I was Destiny, I wasn't gobbling him. Like, walk away, man.
It hurts. It hurts.
Not an honorable support player.
But taking a look at the mid lane, as it's been kind of tracking through this game so far, Ryomo once again on the Swain. We talked about how he doesn't play a lot of this champion, but has been falling behind in both these matchups. That early gank puts him behind and had repeat visits by the Taliyah, but Chief showed in game number 1. All it takes is one teamfight. All it takes is one outplay opportunity they get given, and they're happy to just take it in the mid game.
And exactly to that point, the thing that the Chiefs have really got going for them, like we mentioned, is the composition. If they find an opportunity, well, now you take their comp into account, those opportunities 100 times more likely.
Flashes over the seismic shove once, fails the flash. Ramuni's coming through, but that's a demonic ascension coming through on the side. Call of the Forge God's going to come down as well. They are looking for absolutely everything. Chiefs are only able to pick up one. So Ramune is able to walk out.
Yeah, tragic from once that he misses the flash and just gets taken down. Also, Ornn also able to contribute to that. Now, this is riskier. I don't know if they can successfully dive. If Ramune steps up to clear the wave, though, he's highly at risk.
They do have Cannon Barrage.
Oh, that was a good binding. Babbitt's coming over as well. Not going to find it, though.
That was actually 2 clutch bubbles in a row from Ramune. Hit the bubble on the early gank onto the Swain, so the follow-up damage from Ryoma didn't get onto once, lived for a little bit longer. It meant Babib had to trade his flash for the kill. Once again, him getting dove, landing the bubble, kind of dissuades Chiefs from making a play.
Well, we're at 10 minutes, and these teams are neck and neck on gold, but Raze actually building towards that AP cannon, not seeing the AD cannon come out. It's going to be a lot of stacked AP damage from Chiefs, though.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually, because there is no other AD source, no other physical source available for them.
I mean, technically Ornn, but
I mean,
it's not a massive amount, really. You don't need armor.
Tank's damage is mainly in their base damage, and Ornn is basically all AP there. So they literally have no one dealing AP damage, and that's the reverse of what we saw from game number 1. They had that, like, eventual scaling versus the Aurelia, versus things like that, and all of a sudden, the shoe's on the other foot. Pentagram, if they just get through the early, they get through the mid-game. If no early Barons go to Chiefs and they can stall it out, then this trajectory of the game is very good for them.
They just managed to get themselves first brick here in the bot lane as well. That constant pressure from the Japanese bot lane just making life hard for the Chiefs.
Yeah. Past that, though, whilst they get a decent early game start for themselves, Pentagram, you can see it reflected through not just this objective, but the gold difference. Their composition is still incredibly difficult to utilize once they get back there. I'd say the Chiefs do drop off in damage. They do start to get outscaled. If I was the Chiefs, I'd be looking at the next coming item spikes, you know, the 20 to 25 minute point. Get a team fight around the Baron, and you might just be able to snowball the game out with that Baron buff. Whereas Pentagram are looking past that point. If they can withstand the Baron early pressure, the mid-game item spike pressure, their scaling is just completely unmatched by their opponents, especially because Raze did go AP. Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like we talked about the GP and how Chiefs kind of have to set him behind. Has not done that, got the Sheen on his first base. That's what every GP player wants, into the Ornn. Suddenly he's fine, down 10 CS, but got early gank, died. Who really cares? GP has the Klepto to make up the gold difference, things like that. So he's just kind of chilling in the side lane, farming it up.
We're seeing the lane swap coming out as well from Pentagram. Chiefs are a little bit slower to the punch. They've only just sent Swiper out of base towards our bot lane. And Paz is going to get himself a bit of an early shove, but there is no tower, so that actually is fine.
Yeah, it's actually okay for Swiper to be slow. If he's not visible on the map, he has got a teleport, so Pentagram can't really afford to step up too far if they can't see him. They will be about to see him now, though, on deep vision that they've got placed, so onus on them.
And that's actually a really nice ward, deep, so they see the lane deploy from the Chiefs. Because they have the Tahm Kench. He is so good in mismatched deploys where you can cheat the tempo, you can buy yourself 20 seconds of walking time with the Abyssal Voyage. Not to mention they already got the Rift Herald as well traded for the Ocean, so if Chiefs are ahead of the play, then it's very difficult for them to answer.
What I would like to see now is for Swiper to just get a push on in the bottom lane. It's a long lane, so he can afford to leave it up the river and go with the Herald. But of course, they're going to put a top lane, try and take this turret down.
Oh, sorry. I
Nice
got
try.
ahead of myself there. Good Weavers will at least zone Babip out, but this turret will go down to the Rift Herald with not one nice little bot.
So I
He
think
looked
that's
for it.
fair. That's fair, but that's risky to me. The fact that you don't use that mid when you have an opportunity to break that turret, now you've got a Zoe that can clear the waves, and you've freed up their support to perhaps come and assist.
It's interesting to think about the way they kind of want to break mid. Obviously, it's 75%. I feel like Chiefs are kind of opting into keeping Ryoma in the mid lane on one of the best mid gankers. You don't even have to land the second part of the ram of the Call of the Forge God. You just get a huge slow. All of a sudden, Cannon can flank. That's an AP Cannon from the bottom lane as well.
Yeah.
Sejuani dive, like their dive potential is huge. So they're just leaving the side lanes to be able to push, leaving their bot side top and swipe it down here, and they just want to collapse mid.
We are seeing this constant struggle for vision, and Chiefs definitely starting to get a bit more of an advantage as Pentagram are struggling to even get wards out onto the map. You can see now they've started to place a couple in this river.
As far as vision goes, you're almost looking entirely for your opponent champions. Now there's no objectives to be considered. No Drake, no Rift Herald. You've got 6 minutes on the Baron, roughly 5.5 minutes anyway. So all the vision that you start to place is perhaps around red buff spawns, blue buff spawns, vision of just the opposing jungler to find Talia. Don't get caught out of position. And that's where right now I would say that Pentagram's vision is fairly neutral, if not defensive, but it's doing the job.
And it makes sense that they place defensive vision, right? We talked about they just want to be the ones to scale. They have a jungler that's already ahead. Vlad hasn't even finished the Spellbinder, hasn't finished the first item. GP not sitting on the Triforce. So as long as they can just see the Chiefs and retroactively react to the plays, they're fine. There's no Rift Herald, there's no Dragon up, like you mentioned. It's just an Ocean, things like that. So they don't have to make a big play. They're happy to just sit and stall.
So if you're Pentagram right now, what are you looking for? What's the game plan versus the Chiefs?
I feel like it's all about item spikes. I just talked about not having the Triforce and not having the Spellbinder. They did just go back immediately and pick them up. So it's really about kind of negating a singular play from the Chiefs, because they're very ulti-reliant. It's a Sejuani, it's an Ornn, things like that. If you can negate a play, then you have this finesse comp where there's so much outplay and so much damage potential.
I would actually suggest the 1-3-1, you know, start that one off. Vladimir with teleport, Gangplank with teleport, both can assist in that middle lane. Morgana denies a lot of the engaged threat, and Talia just sitting close to jungle camps can use the wall as well to contribute to exactly that. So you expect the Chiefs to go mid. They use the Herald top lane, so that's their last remaining outer turret that they really want to take. Bottom can be taken at any time and will start to naturally. This opens the map.
Not to mention, it kind of allows them to do exactly what they want. They have a very good anti-siege. Morgana has the safety from dive threat. She can just sit super far back. Vladimir has the pull, and Zoe has pretty good range wave clear on an uncontestable wave, right? Like, she can just hit the ulti, you can land the Qs around, coming from the side, coming over the walls, things like that. So they can kind of buy windows and buy a lot more time when the Chiefs just want to set up a siege.
You've got to remember, this is the Japanese first seed taking on Chiefs, who are second from the OPL. And Chiefs had a miracle upset versus Destination, because Destination just had that game completely in the bag, and Chiefs just went, it's Clown Fiesta time, baby.
I mean, they both did.
Yeah, I mean, they
FM was like, hell yeah,
they both got in the clown cart there, really.
I mean, this game is a bit more calm, a bit more reserved and methodical, and that's definitely something that both Dead FM and Pentagram trend to do at times.
Yep.
So it usually indicates that if the Chiefs are playing very slow and Pentagram are in an advantageous position, then they are controlling this pace just that little bit better.
Babip is constantly threatening this dive. They've actually gone for the 1-3-1 on and top side. Swain down bottom, and Babip just shadowing. Not shadowing the tank of the Ornn, because Sejuani Ornn, not really the scariest combination. Especially now that the stopwatch is online for Paz.
Looks like Babip's stepping forward. Seismic Shot's going to come out. Gang is going to be on the receiving end of all of the damage. Forced to go golden as the slicing maelstrom from Raze. He's able to pick him up one. It's going to be two for Chiefs. And it looks like they are done for now, but Swiper wants to throw down the Ram Jam onto Paz. Paz is now on the run, but all of the damage is coming through. All of the threat from Ramune. Paz will be able to walk out.
Yeah, now you take those 2 kills for the Chiefs. You were able to run it down towards the middle lane. It was a cannon wave as well that assisted in taking this turret down low. Risky to commit themselves to it, but there are enough tanks there that they'll just be able to get the objective. Best case scenario for Chiefs.
Yeah, absolute best case. Pentagram don't need to fight in their jungle. They're happy to sit under their turrets, farm up the waves. All of a sudden, Babip finds a pick in the jungle. They collapse onto the Talia, onto the Morgana, and yeah, that's devastating for the trajectory that they were currently trending at.
Yeah, the individual players of the Chiefs roster, instead of grouping for a raw 5v5, are able to hit skirmishes and pick off individual targets. And that makes things very difficult for Pentagram as a composition.
And not to mention the jungle just in itself is almost impossible, I feel like, for Pentagram to fight it at this point. You have a Sejuani, you have Ornn that can just block down a corridor, Kennen, things like that. He came in on the back of the Tahm Kench. Swain, there's so many tools that means that fighting in those short corridors makes it so hard.
Got to keep in mind, with Raze going down this AP route, the amount of burst he's going to be able to throw out in these team fights is going to be disgusting.
Makes
and with
things
the fact
very
he's got
difficult
Destiny as well, it's just hard to pick him off as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned this earlier, Ijim, but having the Morgana doesn't do a whole lot against the amount of AoE that the Chiefs have got. That spell shield stops the start of an engage, perhaps stops the Ornn or the Sejuani advances, but once the fight has started, Morgana's spell shield does absolutely nothing.
And this is really funny, the setup from these two teams. Pentagram already having the Ocean, prioritizing the Earth trade. They know how important that is in terms of closing out the game, getting the Baron, but Chiefs are just like, who cares? Let's go topside, let's get all the Baron control. It's spawning in 30 seconds. If we have that set up, then they want the team fight. They want to make the play here, and they're just setting up for it already.
And you can see that they've actually mapped the teleport timers here. Swiper's on the Baron side of the map. Ryoma has gone towards the bottom side. His teleport is up very shortly, so they've got the lane assignments down here, the Chiefs, to look towards the major objective of that Baron buff.
What I'm really liking from the Chiefs is every time someone pushes up in a lane, Babip is always over a wall. Just in case if something happens, he's always there to back one of his laners up. And it's making it really hard for Pentagram to actually step forward because they didn't really have the vision to see where he is, and they always know that there's a chance that Babip is going to be there.
Because it is at a detriment to his 1v1, like he doesn't get to farm as much as once on the Talia. But given that he was already kind of behind in that situation, Talia, those early 2 ganks, super successful. He's never going to be able to stand toe-to-toe, and you're just a tank. Like, you need less gold. Once he gets his Cinder Hulk, working on his second item, and he'll be completely fine.
He's an ult bot at this point, and a tank. That's
Was
all he
it,
is.
I just thought of something, sorry, because Razor's playing Kennen. Was it him that had a highlight video of sitting in the pixel bush near Baron with a full team coming next to him as AP Cannon? He's like, this is my moment, and then just pressed zone, he's in the bush and died.
No.
Instead of, I've seen this somewhere. I swear to God it exists.
I haven't seen it, and that makes me think it probably wasn't Raze, because I would know.
No, because he was
got
called
lasagnas.
Perfect Player at the time.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
is it like a solo queue highlight? Is it
Yeah.
a competitive highlight? Oh, okay.
It was very
That's a
funny.
disaster. So that's no bueno.
Well, hopefully for Raze, there is no disaster play now.
But everything super standard between these two teams. A few early kills going over to Pentagram. Chiefs fight back in the early jungle skirmish, but overall been a fairly conservative, fairly safe game. Already 21 minutes in. Nobody made any huge plays.
And it's nice to see this from Chiefs as well, because you know they had a bit of a Clown Fiesta game coming into this before, but now they're saying, no, we can play them the kind of slow burn game. We can play to the Japanese style.
Yeah,
of
they're
these
keeping
like
pace.
go late games.
Yeah, they've managed to slowly get themselves from like a 1,000 to 2,000 gold deficit up by 1,000, and that slow pace doesn't seem to be discomforting to the Chiefs by any means. They're happy to continue to farm, happy to continue to scale up and get those team fights.
Because it is hard for them to force around this Baron. Sure, they have really good turn, and they have a lot of tanks to just be able to stand there and start up the Baron. But then you have blue trinkets on Pentagram, you have Morgana, she's a super safe face checker, you have the black shield.
Yep.
Zoe as well, Talia has Weave as well, you have Cannon Barrage from the GP. They have so many tools to just like scout out what Chiefs are doing around the Baron despite not being in vision.
Definitely true, she's a safe face checker, but with no tank to put it on, does make things difficult if the vision isn't there.
And neither team really has like fast burst on the Baron. You've got an AP Kennen, so he's not AD. And it's going to be, especially for Chiefs, it's going to be about the turning.
Chiefs are not doing Baron. If they do it, it takes them 30 seconds and it's all a bait.
No AD carry. Not like top lane bruiser auto attackers to go with the Sejuani to take it down with her. Kind of got a whole lot of nothing. Just a whole lot of CC. A whole lot of damage for a team fight.
And I think Pentagram are fully aware that that Baron won't be going down anytime soon to Chiefs. So they're quite happy just sitting back and going, look, we just need to wait for the punish. We need to wait for the mistake.
And it is the disciplined play you see them stalling, right? Like, they're not actually committing to the contest. They know they have time if Chiefs do ever set something up. They're just farming the camp spot side, putting all their camps on cooldown, and they know they have a lot of options, and they're just choosing to play it slow.
Now, I think the point this game really opens up, if there's no team fights that happen, of either teams are caught, is when the Elder Dragon and the Baron are up.
Yep.
And then there's multiple options, because vision is actually really difficult to place on the map when there's two major objectives to focus, and picks are a lot easier to find then.
Ryoma. Looking for a nice little trade. Been sitting in the 1-3-1 for a while now. Chiefs just with this setup, constantly refreshing their wards around the Baron, constantly cycling.
Yeah.
Their Sightstoners are... There's the face check with the Morgana.
Stepping forward. Haven't seen Babib quite yet. He's going to walk into vision now. Yatoru Muyashi has been sitting in that bot lane for a good 7 minutes
Very comfy,
now.
very
He's got
comfy.
teleport, so he can always join the team, but he's just farming a storm up. That's all he needs to do.
The horn's out.
Swiper going to throw down the Ram Jam. Not actually going to find his opening with it.
They got a real flash from that.
They did.
Ooh! Instant Zonyas. Ryoma almost got picked up, but a great paddle star does a lot of damage to Ryoma. Chiefs, they looked for it.
Yeah,
they didn't get anything.
It's like, I feel like there's almost a little bit of impatience settling in. You know, like they just throw out the ulti, the immediate answer from Paz, Cannon Barrage on the wave. Like, you guys want to go in? How about no? And they all just walk away. They have the safety of the Morgana, so ultimately everyone just backs away once again. Yatoru Muyashi in the bottom lane, just catching waves.
A crazy amount of respect given over from Pentagram's mid laner, Ramune, by flashing when there was a Morgana next to him.
Probably too much.
No risk. No chance, no opportunity for the opposing team. He's going to flash away, and that risk is that for the next few minutes. He can be caught out by that one and can actually get killed if the Ornn finds him next time.
Luckily he is a Zoe, so there is always a chance that he can pick a flash up with his spell
That is true. Because Zoe's super weird in that she has like one directional mobility, but then like it always brings you back. You can dodge an ability, but you can't escape someone as the
She's
Zoe.
deceptively immobile.
Like, yes, that's a very good way to put it. If you pick up a flash, like sure, but mostly that happens in situations where you're the aggressor and
someone's
they're
flashed
flashing
away,
and you're picking it up to dive them under their turret with a last minute paddle star. So does have that susceptibility now.
And what we did see from the Chiefs was because they went for that aggressive play, they then had to back off, and this now meant Pentagram were able to ward up around the Baron area and just get a little bit of vision control. It is currently getting taken back here by the Chiefs. Pentagram were able to get a little bit of map kind of dominance back because they've been shoved for quite a while.
And I feel like all of these teams are getting super unlucky with Dragon RNG. We've started every single game today with an Ocean. If that's an Infernal, suddenly Chiefs are like, yes, Pentagram, come down here, let's fight, let's go.
Give us a reason.
And
I mean, we're in Australia, we need to catch the waves.
That's
You got to work on saying Australia better.
I've had that one planned for a while, and I messed up the punch.
That was some low-hanging fruit right there.
There is. Looks like Babip's going in for the fight. Wants forced to flash out very, very low. Seismic Shove will not do enough. And that's going to be one picked up by Chiefs. Call of the Forge got instantly pulled back. Great black shield from Gang to make sure Ramone's going to be A-OK. Paz with the barrels as well on the flank. Chiefs get themselves one pick. And now going to turn towards Baron.
But one pick only. They could have taken that. That was the jungler and walked towards the Baron pit. Then still have the Ornn to turn around. But
it's been scrying orbed on the Baron.
Oh,
they know.
What are they doing? I don't know if they do know. That's a great slicing Maelstrom. Instantly forces them to fall back. And the barrels slowed down the team from Paz.
I mean, it's hyper aware here from Pentagram. They did face check a little bit. They were at risk of dying for certain, but the scrying orb went onto the Baron. They saw it was clear, and they backed away as soon as they noticed afterwards. They're able to disengage. The Chiefs with one pick is not enough to consider the Baron. It's still going to be that they're baiting for the pick. Pentagram, no.
And the most important thing to think about is what CC and what ultimates they used to get that initial pick. That was their Sejuani ult, and I was saying they could have held Call of the Forge God, walk into the pit, they have that pink ward, Scryer's orb comes out, things like that, and just force Pentagram to commit so much harder. But instead, Swiper lands with the TP, immediately looks to dive under the inner, and a very well-placed Morgana Black Shield kind of gets any threat of that dive out of the window, and they're just going to get Notion.
Call of the Forge God's been thrown down top side. Yotomi actually very, very low. He's going to get a big heal up on that Hemoplague. Knockup doesn't go in because he's golden. Destiny has been cut off by the wall, but they're chasing up for more. Raze is still alive, somehow staying up. He's finally going to go down as the Drake gets picked up. And we get a pause.
So I don't think Raze was able to move after he got spat out from the Tahm Kench there. He literally stood still for like 3 to 4 seconds.
I didn't know if he got stuck on like a minion or something. That was my fault on that.
If I was to make a guess, it was because there was a Talia wall and a turret, and Tahm Kench tried to spit him into it.
Oh, and he just like, because you have seen those situations where Tahm Kench like tries to throw you over a wall, and you just get stuck in the wall. You're like, hello?
It's like Trundle Pillar as well. You can get stuck between like a turret and a Trundle Pillar, and you literally can't move.
Well, that is that's a rough time to not be able to move. So obviously, like, we're just speculating at this point, as we probably shouldn't do in terms of what happened. But it looked like that's what happened. But of course, there is some technical issue as we'll
find out exactly what's going on. But yeah, that looked like finally the Pentagram were actually able to find themselves what was looking like a good fight. Great kind of just survivability from Moriyashi. Just threw down everything, made sure he stayed alive, got the Zhonya's out as well, and he was up.
And it's basically their first proactive play. We've been talking about for about the last 10 minutes. Chiefs, they're constantly the ones. They have all the CC, the Sejuani, the Ornn. They want to be finding these picks. They're trying to set up around the Baron. And Pentagram just sitting there, they just want to chill. All of a sudden, Babib soloing out an Ocean Drake, Swain in the bottom lane, just farming up the wave. This is the first time we've seen them really look for a proactive play, and it looked to be pretty successful.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, even mentioning that Talia wall, it was in the correct place, perfectly placed from the Pentagram side here, and they were set to succeed through that fight. And if all goes to plan for them, they're able to resume the game. They are in a very comfortable position. Their composition does do damage to the Baron if they find entry to the pit. So that's something to consider for them if they're able to get past this.
And it's kind of funny to like juxtapose the two compositions. One is like super easy getting control of the Baron, just can't take it. The other one's like struggling to get through the chokes, but can just one-shot it as soon as they walk into the pit. But that's the situation we find ourselves in.
We'll have to see exactly what is going on. I haven't quite heard yet what the in-game pause is about, but for the moment, you know, Chiefs have had a lot of dominance for about 10, 15 minutes now, where it's just been very, very hard for Pentagram to be able to step forward.
It's one of those situations where if Jake Spawn Tiberiu was here, he'd be asking, have they done enough? You know, like, have Chiefs done enough to...
Really have they been doing enough?
That's the thing, like, oh, have Pentagram done enough stalling the game? Like, is Gangplank coming online soon? Things like that, and I mean, that fight was potentially going to answer the questions.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, you mentioned the Chiefs having control for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Ultimately, they didn't start with control. They slowly and gradually got themselves control. And then you feel like there is a point where it's not necessarily outscaling, but it does feel that way, particularly from the Gangplank side of the map, where they start to control the map better. And then it's really hard to force those team fights if you're the Chiefs and you get desperate. And we already started to see, like, you know, those hints of the desperation engages from the side of the Chiefs.
Because we talk about scaling a lot, but in the evolution of League of Legends, scaling has become a lot less binary, right? Like with the introduction of like 8.11 and the meta completely changing, having bruisers, tanks, mages in the bottom lane, it's not about like scaling towards the late game, just get your Kog'Maw there and then you're eventually fine. That's what funnel compositions do, but team compositions like this spike heavily in the mid game. It's all about their ability to close out. Comps like the one Chiefs have selected, they need the Baron to actually end a game. They need to be far enough ahead mid-game to dive and force those picks that they've been looking for. Pentagram have been doing very well to stall it out because they have the scaling in the traditional sense of the word. They have the Gangplank, they have the carry jungle. And they want to get to that late game.
It has felt a little bit like Chiefs had a bit of an itchy trigger finger, just constantly trying to find that pick, but you can't really fail them for that because they haven't been punished for it. They've just tried it, hasn't worked, and gone, okay, step back.
And that's what they're meant to be doing, right? So you definitely can't fault that they have attempted to make those plays. And moving forwards, they should be continuing to make the exact same plays. Just setting up is the most important part for them, that they need to clean up just that little bit more, you know?
Because you miss every shot you do not take. And I do want to highlight Gang on the Morgana. I feel like he's actually had a very good game this series. Multiple engages, like a hair away from being successful, and a very clutch Morgana Black Shield has kept them in the game. All of a sudden, if you pick a Zoe, it's very easy to go contest the Baron. Of course, there's no tanks from Pentagram to be able to face check anything else. And if they can get picks without expending too many resources, it's just so useful that they have that Morgana, and everything seems to have landed every single time.
And that is the thing that you have to look at above all else, is like that Morgana play has been incredible and has enabled them to face check, or has enabled them to stay alive when the Chiefs try and go at them. And for the rest of the game, the vision is the #1 most important thing for both compositions. Firstly, are the Chiefs baiting? They're always baiting, really. But like, where are they? And where are they trying to flank us? Where are they trying to fight us from? For the opposing side, it's can we go somewhere without being caught out of position? Because if they get entry to a tower, get entry to a Baron or an Elder Dragon that'll start to come up sooner or later, they do set themselves up to succeed.
And it's kind of almost irrelevant to talk about how execution is so important because, like, well, duh, obviously, but this kind of composition from Pentagram, I like to call it a finesse comp because you have to play perfectly on the knife's edge always. If you get picked off, you lose so quickly. If that gangplank got set too far behind the lane phase, they don't have AD damage versus 70 tanks the Chiefs have picked up, and the game is so incredibly hard. They've done super well so far to just continue stalling out the game, and the individual execution is exacerbated and has to be even better with this style of composition.
Now, I think what's quite nice about this pause is we get to get some nice views of the theatre, the State Theatre here in Sydney we're currently in. It's looking quite empty at the moment. That's because we're not actually live until the grand finals on Thursday, which you can go pick tickets up over on the OPL website. So make sure you do try and book some if you're in the area, because we still got a few tickets, but it is starting to sell out. It's starting to fill up. It's going to be nice to have like a whole crowd here, just hearing the roars for the teams.
Absolutely. This will be your first
live
event.
I did cast Rift Rivals last year as a player.
Yes.
But now as a caster, this is going to be my first live event.
And this is a beautiful arena at that.
I'm
actually
keen.
insane.
I'm keen. I'm real nervous, but I'm keen. Thursday can't come any quicker.
Look at that. Look at that view. Camera's zooming out. You can see everything that's going on. We're on the stage as well. Hello, how's it going? There's a couple of people sitting in the crowd.
Absolutely.
They're getting a free show, they are.
When does the camera stop is what I was really invested in this.
How far can
it's
it go
going up
back?
pretty high. It's going up pretty high.
Oh, there
we go.
Okay. There's a roof.
we found the end. It's a bit of a roughie. That's all right.
But yeah, looking very good. I think that's what we can take away from that. The set looks great. The theatre itself is beautiful. It was very much worth the 27-hour flight over.
Oh, yeah. How was your flight?
I had a kid drawing on the walls with crayons the whole flight. I don't know why the flight attendants didn't do anything. And then, like, there were, like, babies on the flight, and I was kind of worried that they were going to, you know, cry the whole way. But the babies were very well behaved. It was just this one toddler.
Not the babies, it was the kid.
Yeah, it was this one toddler.
Okay.
He just, like, he had too many Capri Suns, and he was just drawing all over the walls. He was pumped up on sugar.
Too many Capri Suns. Sorry, that just really threw me for a loop there.
I've never cast with anyone that isn't Australian. So when you're obviously British and you have like so many mannerisms that I don't expect.
On the test.
So many words that I'm just like, what did he say? Oh, okay. Yeah, all right, I'll back it.
I had to cast with a bunch of Irish guys at EU Masters. Lovely guys, but I can understand 50% of what they say. It makes it very hard when they're trying to make a point.
Yeah. And
you have no idea what they're saying. I know if they're watching, they'll find that funny.
How is it in reverse in terms of understanding Australians?
Well, I can pretty much understand everything. It's just the occasional things you guys say that throw me off more than anything.
Okay.
It's the words you use to describe like bad.
Yep.
Where you say poo instead. You're like, oh, that's poo.
I think that's just
my
you
inner,
and
my inner child laughs at that.
It's a funny word, you know.
It is a good word.
It's a funny word. But yeah, of course, we are still in the pause. The game has uncharacteristically been pretty close between these two teams. Chiefs on the aggressive comp. They do want to look for the engages constantly. They've been constantly fishing time and time again, but Pentagram have just been dissuading every opportunity.
Well, Raze actually was unable to move after that play, so yeah, we are looking to maybe Chrono break that, and take it back. But there we go. It's been declined. That's nice. So we are going to be carrying straight on with the game.
That's very honorable. I'm not even going to say honorable. That's a very scary thing that they chose to accept that, given the state of what was happening in the top lane. I guess it's a very confident point.
Yes. Well, we are going to be going straight back into the action here. So maybe they've got something planned.
Well, that's the thing. Confidence is the play, right? Like, they're obviously confident the situation that they're in right now isn't disastrous. I'm like racking my brain trying to think of the map state as actually.
Well, looks like we're back in the fight, and for the moment, it's all going to be done. Raze is going to go down. That will stick with it.
It was a 1-for-1, right? So things could have been a lot worse for both teams respectively, and Raze, whilst he could not move, it's still an okay end result. For me, I was thinking about it just before we jumped in. I was like, okay, the Chiefs, maybe they just wanted that fight. Maybe something, you know, progressed past the point of just getting the picks.
Yep.
And that's right up the Chiefs' composition.
Oh, here we go.
This might be why. Yeah, teleport's coming through. Destiny is coming in. Great sneaky bubble trouble. An incredible black shield from Gang will save once, and Pentagram are able to walk out of this untouched, but they're pinging that Baron.
We talked about this in the break. That is exactly the kind of play you need from Gang on this Morgana, but Chiefs, that's another TP. They're just going for Baron.
Oh, this is going to take like 40 years. I'm
Paz
growing
has
a
ultimate,
beard.
doesn't have teleport. They're going straight onto the Baron. It's on
so
10k
slow.
health for the moment.
It's tickling. They're going to get here well and truly in time to take the fight. Chiefs must be wanting to turn again.
Call of the Forge God gets thrown out, and now they're peeling off. Destiny is asleep. Gang's going to get picked off. He's running away. That's going to be Babib, able to pick himself up the kill. And now Ramune on that flank with Paz. Baron has been peeled off by Ryoma. Flashed forward. Didn't get the pop with the demonic extension. And it's a 1-for-0 in favor of Chiefs.
They bought enough time. By the time Chiefs had TP'd back to the Baron, they had every ultimate available. They had all the engage tools they needed. And that interaction between Swain and the Ornn, if Morg Shield doesn't hit onto him, it doesn't matter how far you are away, as long as Swain is around, he's just going to rip you back. So easy for Chiefs to find the pick, as Paz is trying to be cheeky.
Abyssal Voyage is coming out. Destiny's going to deliver Swiper in here. Going to instantly peel away from Pentagram. They got a lot of damage onto that mid lane tier 1.
Yes, but they didn't get it. And that is still a really easy avenue for the Chiefs to continue to pressure the Baron buff if they choose. Swiper does not have the teleport, however, so whilst he sits in the side lane, the Chiefs will have to play a bit more slowly.
Because this is a 30-minute game and that mid-outer is still up. You talked about a while ago when Baron is up and Elder is up and you have to make these decisions between the two and how hard it is to play. If you have a turret,
right there,
the enemy team, like the thought of mid-priority doesn't exist because it just hits the turret and you don't care. Like that, it's going to be so hard for Pentagram to make those decisions if this game gets to that point, if Chiefs can still maintain this outer turret.
We're seeing Swiper in this bot lane, slowly starting to work a wave towards it, but he has the Call of the Forge God. And it looks like he is making his way up towards mid. Once again, they want to try and get a fight. Chiefs constantly fishing for that engage, fishing for that potential ace, so they can either turn to Baron or just turn to the win.
But in saying that, the outright river control belongs to that of Pentagram, who are hunting. They're fishing for their own opportunities to look for those engages. A single kill could give them that outer turret that they sorely need. But here we go.
That's going to be the engage. Call of the Forge God connects onto one, and the slicing Maelstrom just deletes out the rest. Yutori Meyashi is there on the side. Paz is also coming up with the barrels. Gonna answer it back for one. It's a 1-for-1 trade, and Paz is still alive. It's now gonna be 2, and Japan are starting to come alive. Yutori Meyashi is pumping that damage out, but pop goes the Swain, and he answers back into a kill. Once pumping out the damage, and Pentagram get the win on the fight.
And you're starting to see it for the Chiefs. Lacking in that damage, they find the cannon immediately, and they get the kill, lock him down. There's just so much working for the side of Pentagram. Now they get that fight, they do get the turret thereafter.
And in a sustained fight, they're always going to win. If the CC does not mean a pick for the Chiefs, if onto anyone other than the Morgana, it's not a priority target. If you use everything to kill the support, all of a sudden you have a Vlad, Zoe, Tilia, and Gangplank coming into the backline, and they just get cleaned up.
Yeah, the one thing that is really nice here from the Chiefs after this initial pick is the Zonias coming out of the Tom Kench to survive for longer. He would have died inside the belly if he didn't spit himself out earlier there. So Raze does enough, but Paz was right there on the flank. And then the Vladimir, the Talia, the Zoe, way too much damage.
Not to mention, Paz can actually continue the fire, right? He went for the Sterak second. We see on recent patches a lot of people going more towards the Storm Rager for that full damage Gangplank, but he has the Sterak's, he has the safety to just go into melee range of the cannon, take him out, and then continue the fight, continue pressuring. And that just means so much for Pentagram.
Well, Call of the Forge God's available once again. We could see Chiefs just go, right, we need to keep fighting. We need to just find this engage, find this perfect moment.
Looking.
Going to use that Abyssal Voyage in the top lane. They're actually looking for Ramune. He's going to get locked up and just burst down. Great pick by the Chiefs.
That's not somewhere that a Zoe should be with no summoner spells available. When all the Chiefs have been doing for the past 5 to 10 minutes is fishing for fights and fishing for engages. Now it's a 4v5. So their opportunities just increase exponentially.
And they actually have 3 sweepers. Support, mid, and jungle have all invested. You know how much Chiefs prioritize denying the vision around the Baron pit, not even having the control themselves, but just the fact that Pentagram can't see in means that this kind of play where they're setting up a bait, Ryoma looking for the flank, Swiper is now just walked all the way from bot up to the Baron. All they want is the turn.
Ryoma also looking on the flank with Swiper specifically for it right now.
Click. Well, actually, it looks like Pentagram trying to turn it into a fight with the Slicing Maelstrom flashing forward and just deleting out members left, right, and center. Paz is on the run, and the barrels don't give him the movement speed, and I take that back. They do indeed. Ryoma didn't quite get anyone with the Demonic Ascension, but it's back onto the Baron for Chiefs.
The jungle are gone this time, however, so they are going to look to start the Baron off and force their opponents to come to them one more time. Ramune is alive. He's running as fast as he can. He'll get here in time. They do not do this quickly.
There's a Hemo Plague available for Yatori Miyashi, though, onto multiple members. That could be very, very scary. Chiefs are starting to take a lot of damage to Baron.
Yatori's hunting for it.
He's really, really searching for it, and the barrels are starting to weave in. Zoe's into the fight. There's going to be a 4-man Hemo Plague. Baron is getting smited up, and it's going to get taken down. It's a kill, however, onto that for Pentagram. They found themselves too. They're looking for more. Paz is on the flank, looking to turn it onto Raze, as he is going to find his opening. He's going to find his window, and Japan have turned this around.
And disaster for the Chiefs. They went for the play. They didn't have ultis. They couldn't turn. They all commit to the Baron. Barely does Babip survive with 1 buff on a singular member of the Chiefs, but the rest fall down.
And it's 40 seconds with 4 of them gone, 30 on the next coming up member. So right now the opportunity to push forwards for Pentagram is there. At the very least, they'll get a blue buff and a Mountain Drake on the backside, and the composition's still scaling. So Sejuani has to group, has to contribute, and they have to win with the Baron buff, or I think they just lose.
The pressure is coming out. They're just continuing the siege up mid. Do they back away?
Looks like they're looking to go back towards that mountain for the moment, but they're going to be able to get themselves 2 turrets and a great team fight victory, excelling themselves 3K over Chiefs.
And it makes sense to play that defensive, right? Like, you take down the inner top, you take down the inner mid, you go take away blue buff, Earth Dragon, play that defensive style. They've now shown that they're at the point where they can just win these team fights. Chiefs have looked for opportunity after opportunity, haven't found the one they need to get themselves far enough ahead. And we're actually going to take another look, and binding super important from Gang, but so many champions from Pentagram are so good in the pit.
Yeah, and Zoe put someone to sleep as the binding hits, so all of the Chiefs just completely routed. They put themselves inside the pit, and then desperate at the end here, trying to pick off Paz, but he's got those oranges.
Desperation, absolutely. Babip and Raze, one of them could have lived on the back end, and you would much rather that be Raze, have the Baron buff. Potentially they could have just scattered, but they actually went for the kill onto Paz.
Yeah.
Didn't find it. That's a very tanky, huge damage threat in the gangplank, and a bit rough there.
4-man Hemo Plague absolutely decimated Chiefs at the back end of the Baron pit as well. He's now got Flash, so that play is that can happen again for the side of Pentagram. It can flash into the team.
But when you actually count the summoner spells, that last fight, Chiefs didn't have flashes available until right now. So chances were that if they had the flash, they could have actually had the Baron and got out much more cleanly than they did. But those summoner spells that lacking means that they don't put themselves in the winner's position, but they have the capabilities to now.
And there's an interesting talking point here between the 2 regions, right? OPL teams have not been very successful with Vladimir in the bottom lane. All of a sudden, Japan have super high priority, and we have seen multiple times today that be successful.
So he's looking to try and get a little bit of poke down. The turret will fall, but in the meanwhile, Paz just pushing out this top wave. Weaver's Wall from once, just trying to interrupt the backs. Paz wasn't quite on the same page, though. He started to walk back into the jungle.
Yeah. Chiefs just trying to get something with their Baron. They only have it on 1 member. They need to make something happen on the opposite side of the map, so Paz just can't push.
And this is that idea from Paz and from Pentagram. If they can draw pressure to another lane, they can make it happen. That was a flash from Destiny.
Here's a nice summoner. Of course, pretty short cooldown because he has the unsealed spell book. Has gone for the heal as well at this point. Swapping away from things like the cleanse, just maybe just wants to keep Raze alive when the Vladimir goes in, things like that.
Well, for now, Pentagram, for the first time in a very, very long time, able to step aggressively forward into Chiefs jungle. They're working with a wave here. Does look like Ryoma is going to be able to clear it out with no problem.
Yeah, it is still hard to push against the Chiefs roster. The Baron is still the ultimate thing for winning this game, the ultimate source of victory. Elder Dragon's still going to be a threat moving forwards, but currently no Baron, no Elder. Looks at Siege, it's more about map control.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's just vying for vision. When those buffs do start coming on to cooldown, like 2 minutes before they're up, you will see teams kind of commit to maybe one side or the other. It's an interesting choice to make at this point, because it's not like it's stacking Infernals, but still with the double Earth, with the Ocean, Elder Dragon is super nice for Pentagram, whereas Chiefs only really want Baron. They don't care about Elder, they just care about denying it from the Japanese squad.
We're seeing the Guardian Angel get picked up by Paz. He's got a dagger he's sitting on as well, so looks like that'll probably be the Storm's Razor as his last item. Although it could potentially be that Phantom Dancer as well. He might want the extra crit, but it feels like Storm Razor would just offer him more, unless he's like going to sell an item and pick
It's
it
just nice to have as Gangplank, right? Storm Razor, just a free crit when you want to burst someone out.
It works really well with the barrel. It means that your barrel will always crit if you have time to set it up, things like that. We took a quick look at the gold. Basically everything even. This is a 38, almost 40-minute game on patch 8.13. You don't see gold leads this close very often, if at all, on this sort of patch. These sort of metas are super snowbally, so the fact that Pentagram, specifically in this matchup, have been able to stall so well against the Chiefs, given their early lead, is super good.
4 Rabbidoodles on the map at the moment.
Yep.
Everyone likes hats.
Wizards. Wizards everywhere.
Harry Potter was British, so I'll respect it. I'll respect it.
I didn't make a Harry Potter reference.
We're talking about wizard hats and Rabbidoodles, so I don't know, man. Like, Harry Potter's there. But we do hit that point now, 2 minutes on the Elder Drake, about 1 minute 30 on the Baron. So decisions are going to have to start being made by both these teams.
You know, one thing that we haven't really spoken about that does stand out to me is the lack of resistances on the Pentagram side. You know, the side of the Chiefs does scale off, it tapers off in their damage output, but when your opponents don't really ever get resistances, it's much more likely you can still get those picks if you execute properly.
Mostly at this stage of the game, when it's this even, it comes down to the engage. Can a binding land onto a priority target that is away from Tahm Kench, things like that? Can an Ornn ulti land onto the Vladimir, force the pull out onto the Zoe, you get a pick, things like that?
Oh! That was amazing because Vision just baited the Taliyah to face check that one and suddenly has to flash away. Super tragic for the Taliyah.
Super tragic, but super respectful. That was a very quick flash. He knew if that lands, he gets pulled back. Multiple CCs come through from the Chiefs. He dies. It's a very long death timer. They got reduced pre-level 8. He's now level 18. Death timer is still incredibly long for the Taliyah. That could have been Baron.
Now, we actually have 5 hats in the game. Ray's just picked up his death cap, which is actually very big because he is the primary big burst for the side of the Chiefs. Now he's got the Rabbidoodles. He's actually going to be able to put out a lot of damage.
Yeah. And this is a classic situation that Swiper finds himself in all the time. In the OPL, playing against carry players like Paz on the GP here, he groups even with TP because Chiefs want the pick so bad. This Gangplank,
he's looking.
He can do nothing to in the side lane and just grouping with the rest of the Chiefs.
Well, going to throw out the call of the Forge God. Ramuni has that black shield, but he's getting instantly turned onto. Looking to get his way out as Ryoma trying to pump that damage out. Is going to force the flash out, and that is going to be 1 for Chiefs. Now, Yotaro Moai on that side. Paz has now joined into the fight as well. Looks like they're continuing that chase. The Vision of Empire comes down.
Elder Dragon about to spawn also, so the opportunity to continue this fight is there for the Chiefs. Raze has flash and ult.
It is there, but they don't have ultis on all of their engage. Raze would have to be the one to go in first. Pentagram, despite the 4v5 sticking around, trying to toying with the idea of this fight.
You have to keep in mind, Paz is the primary AoE damage, and he is still up and alive, but
where are you going?
Speaking of that, Vladimir's going to lose a lot of health. One's getting turned onto. A great seismic shove forces 2 back. That black shield's still going. Raze flashes over the wall with a slicing maelstrom, and he is starting to try to cut through members as he's turning onto Paz. Paz forces to flash out, and that will be Chiefs with a kill onto once.
Such creative play. They actually flank with the cannon. He doesn't have good engage from the front, but they get him behind Pentagram. All of a sudden, that's the jungler gone, the mid laner gone. They're looking onto Elder.
It looks like that will be the top laner gone as well. GA is going to get popped, but there are so many members around him, and he is just deleted.
Yeah, and it's just Yutaro Moyashi and Gang left to try and stop this Elder Dragon from going down. Chiefs happy to continue to push them away, happy to continue to pressure, and they should get themselves the first objective. I'd expect they go straight to Baron with it.
And they all have TPs. They can actually recall and then just TP to the fight, refresh their HP bars. That's 40 seconds left on the Gangplank, 20 on the Taliyah. When they get to the Baron pit, she'll still be walking out of base. That takes so incredibly long. This could just be both big buffs picked up by the Chiefs.
Ryoma had to go back to clear out that wave at the bot lane, but like you said, teleport's available. He can always come and join the rest of the team. It's 25 seconds until Paz is alive. Once doesn't even have his wall up quite yet. So
he should teleport early here, though. He needs to get in immediately. He's the only damage onto this Baron. Raze and Ryoma need to stay alive and dish it out.
Fash Hemoplague is available to Moriyashi. Keep your eyes on that, and I think Chiefs just respect this. They said they don't want to waste their Elder Drake. They're just going to take a step back. They denied the Elder Drake. Like you said at the beginning earlier on, it's not about them actually getting that Elder Drake. It's just about denying the double mountain ocean Elder Drake that Chiefs, but Pentagram can get.
Comparative to Pentagram, like there's just so much less value there for the Chiefs. And going back to it, their Baron is super slow, whereas Pentagram's, despite not having the Elder, is super quick.
That is very, very quick. Lost half its health already. Missile Voyage is coming out, and now Chiefs are going to force them off for the moment.
There's no flash for Raze. So for the Cannon getting into the backline, dealing damage, he's the kill threat, working with Ryoma on that Swain. If he can't flash, he can't get in. Tom Kench's job may even be more valuable.
That's the thing. Flash cooldown is gone. Swiper, once again sitting with the rest of the team. On Horn.
That's going to be the call of the Forge God.
Nice
Great seismic shove. Will dissuade them for a little bit, but once again, Ramuni just gets picked up.
But this time, all they had to burn was the one ultimate. They still have Cannon, Swain, and that Sejuani, so the turn is still possible for the Chiefs.
Remember, Paz doesn't have GA this time. That's already been popped. Once is on that flank, looking to try and get that damage out. He is poking away onto Babip on the back end of the Baron pit.
They're helping the Chiefs do the Baron right now.
Oh no, Paz is going to get popped! That's going to be the slicing Maelstrom from Raze as well. He is chasing, forcing the flash out. They're still going on Baron.
Yeah, but importantly, they actually hold the HP bar. It wasn't regenerating that whole time. Talia is here. She has the wall, but
she's not going to get there in time.
Everyone's standing between the Talia and the Baron buff. The smite was sketch.
Yeah, it didn't matter, thankfully. It still wasn't the smite that secured it, but the Chiefs got themselves both major buffs. Now, there's no Elder to give to their opponents, even though it's about to subside from the Chiefs. The Baron enables them to control the 1-3-1, hold their opponents at bay, and look for another engage.
And that's the thing. It just means the wave clear that can come out from this roster is now just impossible. Dive threat huge. I honestly expect the Chiefs to kind of chill out for a little bit. Maybe just set up the Wains, go into that 1-3-1, push it all in, and wait for Razor's flash to come back up.
The thing that they could have done to actually end this game a bit faster was get a Banner of Command.
It's gone.
Utilize that, but it's not good anymore.
It's not good. It's gone. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't exist, it doesn't mean it's good.
Yep, that is absolutely true. Unfortunately, the
My heart
LPL
aches for their win condition.
The LPL a bit behind the times, you know.
Sorry.
It's okay. We forgive you on that. Looks like this siege is going to start up by the Chiefs. They've got that Baron to work with. They've got almost all of their ultimates to work with as well. Has not quite got his GA up yet, but he is working towards it.
Oh!
And that is the engage. The Black Shield's just a little bit too late. And once again,
man.
forced a flash, but a 4-man Hemoplague is absolutely massive. It's going to chunk through quite a few of them, but the turret is going to go down once, poking and fighting away on the side. Nobody has died yet, but Raze is going in with the slicing Maelstrom. He's only managed to lock up one, and he is instantly deleted.
Chiefs are losing.
Ramuni's trying to put the damage down, and that's going to be 2 for Pentagram. They're still not done. Ryoma takes into the air with the Demonic Ascension, but he is deleted down, and they are finding everything they need. Pentagram crush Chiefs.
And Chiefs split everything. Multiple members going onto the inhib while Raze looks for the fight. They cannot find the picks they need and ultimately just get wiped on the floor of Pentagram's base.
Oh, they are still chasing for Babip. Gonna pick up the last Baron buff holder, and now Pentagram. Where do they go?
It could actually end the game if they find minions to come with them. I don't know if they have those minions just yet. They are pushing right now in the middle lane, even a cannon to assist them. I think they've actually done it potentially here.
Their siege, not great. Turret taken. They do have double mountain though. So everyone's
about to wreck it.
Yeah, everyone talks about in terms of Baron and Elder damage, but they're just going to chew through the turrets.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, I think they've done it.
Yeah, I think they might have won this. Pentagram stepping forward. Paz even tanking it to make sure that minion wave stays alive. These turrets are getting crushed. And at 46 minutes, Pentagram turned the game around against Chiefs and crushed them.
And it was so back and forth. For the majority of that game, Chiefs had control. They were constantly fishing for picks. They wanted that team fight earlier than they got it. Finally, they do get the Elder. They do get the Baron. They got everything they needed in the base of Pentagram. And misexecution cost them the game.
Yeah, I felt like maybe they were too confident when they were going into that last fight. They saw red, they saw their opponents, and they saw the opportunity to make the plays. But the plays were too big. They could have just used that Baron, continued to push in the middle lane, been more reserved as a team, but it got the better of them. They make a mistake, and that's all it takes that late in the game, one mistake.
Because in terms of what had been used in that team fight, like they burnt the very nice fadeaway engage from Babip, lands onto the Talia, and they also get the Morg shield. But Vladimir goes in and then had to back away. They got no value out of the Hemo Plague, despite going onto multiple members. If they just played it slow, there was potential they could just continue sieging the base and just continue playing it slow, but they opt in for the fight immediately, and it cost them.
And I mean, Pentagram really needed that. That was so important for them. They're now 1-1 with OPL, so they've lost a game, they've won a game, and Chiefs are looking very good. Even though they lost, they are looking very good. They got a little bit too overconfident at the end of that game, and they're going to take a step back and look at what went wrong there. But, I mean, that was just day one, and they were looking absolutely great.
Yeah, that was the first place of the LGL against the second place of the OPL through this game as well. So for the Chiefs, it doesn't hurt that much to lose when you think of it in seeding terms, but they absolutely played very well for most of that game.
But the Chiefs lineup, you know, like everyone looking in is like, oh, you know, it's fine, but...
I mean, it still hurts to lose that because that was absolutely their game to win. And just one team fight was all they needed to actually turn that around for the side of Pentagram. But even so, solid game from both of these teams. And, I mean, there's not really much more to say on that.
I mean, there's some interesting things to talk about in terms of stylistic differences between the regions. I feel like Dead FM and Pentagram have already showed that they're willing to play it slow. They play these differing styles, whereas the Oceanic teams, well, we've only seen the Chiefs are just like super heavy. They want to go for the engages, and it's interesting when you get to these interregional events to see those styles clash and how it works. But obviously, Pentagram very comfortable in being able to stall out that game.
Yeah, well, with that will be OPL and Japan going 1-1 apiece. Coming up next in Game 4 will be the Direwolves taking on the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, I believe. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a sec.